Hey guys, it's Jim, V-Strom Garage. We're working on another 2012 Prius Head Gasket. So I picked this one up a couple weeks ago and it's time to get this thing done. So let's get started. Let's take a look at what we're working with here. So the guy I bought it from, he bought the car back in I think July and had it, was driving it, and it heading to California. I guess the temperature thing came on and it overheated, so put a new water pump on, and the place he took it to, it still had a misfire. So of course, instead of checking everything, they just went ahead and put all new coil packs on there. Of course, that didn't do anything. And yeah, first sign you want to look for when it starts knocking when you're starting it up is low coolant. That's a good indication that you got a bad head gasket. So those guys are just parts replacers, and that was about it. They definitely didn't do a good job. All the hose clamps on these things were still loose. They never tightened those up. So I'm going to really check everything that they did. I think they replaced a wheel bearing or something too, so I'll have to look at that. They didn't put the little cap back on the windshield wiper arm. I see that all the time. I don't know why these mechanics can't remember to put those on. So anyways, that's what we're working with, and let's get started. Yeah, I'll take you over and show you how I'm laying out all these bolts. So this is the third time I've done an engine on one of these, so keep all these little baggies. So got everything labeled of what bolts are going in where. So yeah, it just makes it easier. Keep organized. I say that's one thing, if you do this every day, you can remember all that stuff. But yeah, they replaced these little clips in here with the wrong ones. It'll hold it on, but not the correct ones. So we'll fix that if I can get it off without breaking anything. Those are not the correct ones. You can tell because everything's loose. If you're going to do something, do it right. If you can't do it right, don't do it. bolts for that. So there's a little rubber plug in the back that whole thing sticks into. Just make sure when you pull it out, don't pull up and hit the windshield, because you will break it. If somebody lost one, they put a different one in there. Yeah, I think we did. Alright, now we can start seeing stuff. And it's time to get the air box out of the way. That's another thing on the air box. Whoever changed the filter, I don't know when, but there's supposed to be little plastic clips that hold this down. Well, there's nothing there. So either going to have to replace the bottom air box, or I'm going to have to find something to hold these down. More than likely I'll find a used one and put it in there. Because the new one's like way too expensive. It's like, I think you have to buy the whole assembly. It's like $400 or something like that. So we don't want to do that. Nice airflow sensor. Clip out of there. Yeah, they didn't even get the hose back in the right spot. Rookies. So now we'll go ahead and jack the car up, get the wheel off. We'll drain the oil, drain the coolant. We'll get the wiring harness off and out of the way. And yeah, we'll go from there. So we got the oil drained, we got the coolant drained. So to drain the coolant, I took the bottom panel off from under the engine, all the 19 fasteners or whatever it was, plus the 6 screws. And yeah, but that's all right because I want to clean everything when I'm down there because yeah, it looks like coolant went everywhere on this. So did a little investigation, and yeah, they used that like gasket sealer stuff in it, so there's all that crap in the radiator reservoir. So I'm gonna have to clean all that out. Hopefully it didn't ruin the heater core, the radiator. I'm probably gonna have to flush all that stuff out somehow. But yeah, so we just got the 3 connectors down there, the O2 sensor, the crankshaft position sensor, and the oil pressure switch. Got those off. It ain't that easy. A couple of them are easy. The O2 sensor one's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get off, but yeah, when you don't do it all the time, that's tough. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, so somebody's been into this at least once before. So I noticed there's usually like a whole plastic cover right here. I don't see that on there. But yeah, so go ahead and keep taking all these electrical connectors off. I got the AC compressor, water pump. Got the throttle body one off. And started taking the ones off from the coil packs here. Sometimes these don't want to go. You have to get a little screwdriver and gently pry behind it. You don't want to snap them off. Those are off. It's hard. Get that one off. This one. Oops. Gap sensor. Yeah, some of those guys that do this every day make this look easy. It's not that easy. Like I said, there's definitely a hack in here at one time that was not careful. But yeah, we'll get it all fixed up. Looking good again. That's a little one. We use some fuel on pliers on that one. And gently squeeze that. That's why. Yeah. The hacks broke all these little clips off. Yeah, this thing's taking 20 times longer than it should have from all these little broken clips. Take the fuel injector connectors off. Knock sensor. Get those ground wires off here real quick. Back down on here. Can't do it with my dumb hand. Yeah, this definitely won't be one of those 4-hour head gasket videos. I'll probably end up, by the time I'm done with everything, it'll probably take me 3 or 4 days by the time I'm cleaning everything and going through everything. It's going to take a little bit longer, but I have the time, so that's a good thing. Yeah, big fingers and clips make it tough. I think I had about 3 of them that didn't really fight me to getting off. Alright, check everything. started taking some hoses off. We got the one. Wait, let me get. There we go. So we got the one coolant line up here. It goes to the back here into the head. So we marked that. So we'll start probably taking the intake off now. We'll get that sucker out of the way. Yeah, I was also looking on here. I don't know if you can see it or not. On the EGR pipe back there, it's actually missing a bolt out of there. So whoever had it off never even put the friggin' bolt back in there. Lazy people. So we'll get the intake off next. I'm going to take our 210s off the EGR pipe. So that one's loose. Now we can take our 5 12mm, well, 3 12mm bolts and 2 12mm nuts. Should be ready to pull off. Let's see. I'm just gonna pop this one off. And we got our PCV hose we gotta get off. Okay. Let's see if we forgot the other hoses. Yeah, the EGR ports don't look real bad. They definitely go caked up, but then I've seen worse. 2 coolant hoses off from the thermostat down here. There should be a little coolant come out. We got some trays down there. Hopefully it catches most of it. Well, we caught a little bit. Cardboard caught the rest of it. And that's the way the coolant goes. Alright, now we got the bigger hose. Loosened up. Try not to let the coolant get into your electrical connector on the AC. If you do, get it all out. Yeah, nothing came out of that. Now, I guess we'll go ahead and take the coil packs off, or at least loosen that up. Loosen up the spark plugs, or we can do it afterwards, either way. Yeah, I put new coil packs in at least. They are Denso, so that's a good thing. They didn't put one of the bolts back on the EGR cooler either. Wow, what a bunch of lazy pigs. Luckily I saved a lot of bolts from when I did the engine swap on the Prius V. So yeah, I'll replace all those with factory ones. Alright, let's get this valve cover off. Get that out of the way. I loosened them up a little bit already. I like to do that by hand and then zip them off of these. Alright, 12 and 13. That kind of stays in there. Oh, right there. Pretty clean. Alright. Yeah, so that'll make it a little bit easier getting some of these other bolts off. Do not cut your hands on all those little tabs. Loosen up this 12mm nut on the stud on the EGR cooler. No need to take it all the way off. You can just leave it on there, just loosen it up and get your E8 torque socket. And we go ahead and take that whole stud out. Alright, first stud is out. Let's see if we can get this nut off the hard one behind the EGR cooler here. Yeah, this one's a bear to get to. Now let's make sure the guy put it back in there before we try to take it off. I think the stud's in there. I don't think he put the nut back on it though. Well, I guess that's why I can't get on the nut, because it ain't there. Nice. Moron. Alright. Well, let's see if we can get the ones in the back. So for the back ones, I got this long ratcheting thing here. So you can kind of come in from the back, from like the passenger side, and get those nuts loose. Maybe. This is kind of a spline drive type one. I think whoever had it before, they boogered about this. Not going to work with that one. Gonna have to go to plan B. This top one back here is not too hard. It's the bottom one that's. Damn, Christmas they put that on tight. Guess I figured they weren't going to put the other nut on there, on the hard one, so they put these on tighter. And that's not going to get in there either. Well, we're going to have to make the wrench work. Yeah, I need to get the extra long ones of these wrenches. There it goes. Yeah, I think it'll be easier if I get that fuel line out of the way too. Bottom one's not as easy. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is. Alright, those two nuts are off. Yeah. So, That would take those other coolant lines off there. So we pull that bottom one, probably gonna have a little coolant come out, so throw a rag down in there. Try to soak up some of it. Actually that's the top part of it. You probably won't have any. And a little hard to stuff a rag down there. Yeah, it's hindsight. I probably should have took that one off before I took those other screws out. Keep that thing from moving when I'm trying to pull on it. No big deal. Yeah, I got a little coolant come out there. Alright, so we got the top stud off the back of the EGR coming off from the exhaust manifold. Now we're going to try to get the bottom one. So swing that out. That way you don't have to take the stud off. So that's kind of the one that's kind of the hard one below the EGR cooler. So that's the what I'm using, the little E8 1/4 inch. Get back in there. That is out. So, alright, now our EGR cooler will come out. Get the rest of the coolant out in the bucket down there. Out. Alright, so I don't think you can see it, but we're going to take the S pipe out. Get that out of there. That's a couple bolts, well, the front bolt's a little bit better to get to. And this little sensor right here, coolant sensor, take that out. Looks like it's in a little better position than the what was on my white Prius. That shouldn't be too bad. Get a little idea. So the two studs I pulled off are on that there. And there should have been a gasket between this and the EGR, and the way it looks, how there wasn't one on there. So we'll be putting one of those back on. Luckily I have an extra one. So give you an idea. So next we'll get this S pipe here. Goes around, hooks into the head. And the bolt is going to be a little bit of a bear's underneath this hose here. here. So we're going to get this bolt out of the S-pipe bracket. So, here. This is a 12 millimeter. I don't know if you can see that down in there. Get off and we'll get a magnet and take that out. Alright. Now we just got the S-pipe bolt that's underneath here, which I've already loosened up. So now it's just a matter of getting that out. Trying not to drop it, but probably not going to happen. Yeah, it's pretty much directly below the hose. Okay, it's out. And the magnet. Get that one out. Hose clamp off here. Alright, so that's away from the head. We've got the coolant temperature sensor plug that we have to undo. That was a little bit of a pain in the butt. Alright, so we've got a, get it focused. So a coolant temperature sensor right there. Now, we need to, oops, back to that. Yeah, so now we got to get this bolt, it's right there, holds this wiring harness on, so that's a 12 millimeter. So we'll go ahead and back that one out. Yeah, so that's loose of the head there. Alright, so we got one more coolant line in the back coming off the head. We'll take that one off. Come on, baby. There we go. Probably gonna have a little more coolant coming down, so find a dirty rag. Yeah, just a little bit. We got the majority of it. We got our spare EGR cooler in the ultrasonic tank. You can hear that annoying sound. So, yeah, we'll get that thing all cleaned up. Let you guys see that in a little while. Been in there for probably about an hour. Alright, time to get the water pump out of there. So they're all 12 millimeters. Got some of them broke loose. I just use this. You got the AC line right here. That's a little tight to get in there, but yeah, one of these, or just a regular, closed in one. You can get in there and get this one and the bottom one loose with that, and yeah. Yeah, if you use one of these, don't back it all the way out. You'll get it pinched between the frame and the other part there. So then there's another fifth one on the bottom. All right, bottom one's out. So the two that are up on the top part, like here and right under that one, those two bolts are going to be longer than the rest of them. Let's see. Yeah, so the guy bought it from me, put a new water pump on here, so won't have to change that. Yeah, the two longer ones, sometimes the bottom one mainly, it'll get a little bit of sealant on there, because usually when you put the timing cover on, the sealant's still wet, it oozes out, and then you put these in there. So it makes it a little harder getting those out. Alright, so that should be it. Unless I missed one. Which is always possible. Did this pop right out? Oh, I still got the one bolt on the top. Big dummy. I'll try to get in there. Yeah, I won't pull it all the way out where I want it to fall. Guess if I would have counted the bolts, I would have known that, wouldn't I? Alright. Nice and smooth. Alright, so I'm just taking off the, so I got the one 10mm nut, goes up here, there's a 10mm screw that's down on this bracket, and there's another 10 right here, then that'll loosen up the AC lines. Alright, now we can start getting to our motor mount nuts and bolts here. So we're going to need a 17mm and a 14mm for underneath this bracket. 14mm nut. So we'll do that 14mm nut first. Get that out of the way. Yeah, 14mm deep should get up in there. Yeah, you gotta be careful with that one. That looks like a knuckle buster. Slip on that one. Yeah, none of this stuff's hard. It's just time consuming. As long as you got the patience and all the right tools, it's not too bad. Ooh, hand cramping up. Get it, got it. So, that's the nut that's under there. Alright, let's get this motor mount loosened up here. Oops, I need a depot, don't I? The engine will go down a little bit when we take this off, and that's okay. But that's why I took the water pump off first, because once I tilt, you got a little less room to get those top bolts. Okay, it's down as far as it's going to go, I guess. Alright, now we'll get our 3 more 17s. Got this one here. this one way back here. And this one here. Actually, we're going to go ahead and take this stud off. I forgot about that one. So that's a 8mm. Just got to have this stud out of the way to get that other bolt off from the head. This should be very tight. Yeah, all these studs, you basically put them in and just snug them just a little bit. You don't need them any tighter. Alright, now, oh, you got one electrical clip, sits right on there. So we get that sucker off. Way to get out of here. There we go. And it's out. Yeah, the nice thing about doing this yourself is you can sit and clean all this area up, because you know, you hire a mechanic, you're not going to pay him $100 an hour to clean your car. So doing it yourself, it gives you the time and go through and detail everything out, get all the coolant that's sprayed out all over, and everything else is down below. So yeah, it's usually got about 2 or 3 hours in it just doing that. Alright, let's take a break and we'll regroup.